Hey everybody, it's Mike from Eldorado Guitars, and today I want to make a video for you guys because I have some really cool information that I want to share with you. And that is that the Mesa reissues are coming. Okay, so if you watched my video about why Randall Smith was probably fired / let go / decided it was time to move on from Mesa Boogie, one of the topics that I covered there was that I predicted that Mesa wanted to reissue everything, and I don't think that Randall Smith wanted to spend his time doing that. And now we're seeing Gibson take another step with that. They're going to reissue two different amps. They're going to reissue the dual rectifier 2-channel with a chrome chassis and a black faceplate, so the one we all kind of want. And then they're going to reissue the Mark II C+. Now, how do I know this? Several reasons. One, the pictures were leaked in Caesar Gherkin's Instagram. He posted a photo of each amp, I think with two little eyeballs next to it. So you can see the prototypes. There were also prototypes of the rectifier released last year on Instagram by accident in a shot from Caesar in the background there. And you can go to my video about Randall Smith to check that out. The second reason is some dealers are taking deposits. So some people are actually taking your money and giving a price. We'll get more into that in a second. And the third reason is that I've gotten confirmation from my own rep at Sweetwater that they've already filmed content for the dual rectifier, that they did it during the Gear Fest last month, I believe. So these reissues are absolutely, definitely coming. So why am I telling you this? One, I want to give you the details, and two, I want to give you the lowdown now so that you can call your dealer and you can get on a wait list or put down a deposit or whatever if you're interested in these amps. So first, the dual rectifier. This is going to be a reissue of the 2-channel dual rectifier. So not the multi-watt, nothing like that. The old school one from the early 90s. So like I said, it's supposed to have a chrome chassis, a black faceplate. It's going to have a big Mesa logo, not a little one. And the Variac is built in on the switch on the left-hand side. Like the middle is standby, and then up is 90 volts or whatever, and down is 120 volts. So it's going to have some slightly different layouts to the classic rectifier that we all know and love, but it should be a faithful reissue of that. There's a big question about whether this is going to be a reissue of a Rev G or of a Rev F, and that right now is not known. I've seen both be talked about. My Sweetwater rep did not say which one it specifically would be. I think it's honestly probably more likely that it's a Rev G, simply because that's the amp that we all know and love. The Rev F is great, and Rev C and Rev D and all that stuff is great, and for collectors it's collected a lot of value and all of that. But most of us know the Rev G circuit. That's what we heard on Alice in Chains, Foo Fighters, Bush. I mean, you name it from the 90s, right? The mid 90s, everybody was using Mesa Boogies, even into the late 90s and early 2000s, right? With Incubus, Creed, right? All these guys were using Rev G 2-channel dual rectifiers. So I think that's probably what we're going to see. It could be a Rev F, but I think that there is a couple of things there to think about. The Rev F would make sense because the market for Rev Fs is very high. So reissuing these amps would bring that down in the market, the online market. I mean, you could pick up Rev Gs for $2,000 or less all day. I mean, I think there's one on Reverb right now for $19.99 just sitting there. So it would seem strange to me to reissue an amp for $32.99. That's the price my Sweetwater rep quoted me. That are selling for $19.99 online. I think that would be a little odd, but like I said, it could be that that's the amp we all know and love. So I think that it's probably pretty likely that it'll be a Rev G. Rev F would be cool, but I think Rev G is probably more likely. Okay, let's move on to the Mark II C+. So this one's a little more shrouded in mystery. Right now, the rumors are an April 1st release date with a street price of $36.99. I don't know if that's true. That seems very low to me. I anticipated that this would be something like $49.99. There's also rumors of it being limited to 200 amps. But the reason I want to tell you this is that these are the ones that I think are going to be in the highest demand. Rectifiers, there's still plenty of rectifiers out there, right? I mean, like I said, Rev F, Rev G, you can go buy, if you look hard enough, you can go buy pretty much any revision of rectifier that you want to buy. But the Mark IIc Plus is a little harder, right? They're out there, but they're much more expensive. So expect there to be a lot more demand for the IIc Plus, I think. So if you're interested in one of those, you need to jump on it now. I would call your dealer, try to put down a deposit, try and get on a list, try and do whatever it is that you can to get a hold of one of those, a spot for one of those amps, if you're interested in it. I do think if it's limited to 200 units, or if there is some sort of limited edition one, that also could be very hard to get. So for example, I think there's a possibility that Mesa both might be true, right? They might reissue a like regular IIc Plus for $36.99, but then they might do something like 200 limited amps for more. Now, what could that be? I don't know. It could be like a James Hetfield signature Murphy Lab IIc Plus. I don't know. So there's a rumor out there that maybe it could be they have some NOS parts, and so these 200 are made of the NOS parts, right? And people might be willing to pay $9.99 or something for that. I would just say get your hands on whatever one you can probably get your hands on right now. The ones that are 200, if that is true, would be very cool, but those are almost all going to go to collectors. It's not really going to be a player's amp, just like the really high-end, Greenie guitars or the John Frusciante Strat that just came out, like $20,000. That's kind of what that amp is going to be for. But I think there's going to be a regular, like run-of-the-mill one that we can all afford, right? It's still expensive, but it's not $10,000. So I would try and go ahead and get on a list for one of those. I know me personally, what am I doing? I don't really have a lot of interest in the Recto. It's cool, but Rectos have never really been my thing. I have an Axe FX. I'm happy with the Recto sounds I get out of the Axe FX. It's just not a sound that's for me, and when I do need it, it's there on the unit. But I am interested in the IIc Plus because I do have an OG IIc Plus, and I'd love to shoot out a new one against my OG. And then, of course, the second reason is because I love Mark amps, right? You can see I have a 3 Plus and a IIc Plus. So I really love Mark series amps. So I will definitely be trying to get my hands on one of those. Call your dealers now. It's Friday. You can call them over the weekend and get in. My advice would be just do what you can now, and let's all prepare for the reissues of Mesa Boogies. Okay, guys. Thanks again. This is Mike from Eldorado Guitars. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thanks, and have a good weekend.